And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. Let's go. Let's get there. Hit subscribe, watch, comment, and please share with family and friends because the insanity, it's not stopping. Look, just this afternoon, Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt, well, she does what she does every day, held a press conference and answered many of our most asked questions, things that I talk about right here on this program. But she started off by telling everyone, just ignore the panicins. Don't panic. Everything is fine. Play the clip.
Ignore the panicins and trust in President Trump. That is our motto here at the White House. The America First economic agenda is working.
Panicins? You know, I'm pretty good with what the hell is a panikin? Meanwhile, I thought it was talking about like a pangolin. Meanwhile, her first question came from an infamous MAGA personality by the name of Benny Johnson, who spoke about how he has seen mass shootings. Literally, I mean, they make up the crazy shit like Trump does. He has seen mass shootings outside of his DC home. Play the clip.
Started, and as always, we'll start with our new media seat, who is our podcast host today, Benny Johnson. Benny, why don't you kick us off, and thanks for being here.
Thank you, Caroline. As a DC resident of 15 years, I lived on Capitol Hill. I witnessed so many muggings and so much theft. I lost track. I was carjacked. I have murders on my Ring camera and mass shootings. I witnessed a woman on my block get held up at gunpoint for $20, and my house was set ablaze in an arson with my infant child inside. And so to any reporter that says and lies that DC is a safe place to live and work, let me just say this. Thank you. Thank you for making the city safe, because no parent should have to go through what my family went through.
Benny Johnson doesn't seem to have good luck now, does he? Meanwhile, Leavitt goes on. This is one of the craziest pressers that you will see. And we're going to break it down right here. So stay with me, because Leavitt goes on and explains that they have, get a load of this, 850 National Guard and police officers that were out just yesterday alone. And they arrested, wait for it, 23 people were arrested. Question I would like to have asked if I was in the room, does it really take 37 officers per arrest? Play the clip.
On another matter, yesterday, President Trump took bold action to finally restore law and order right here in our nation's capital. The president declared a crime emergency in the District of Columbia, federalized the D.C. Police Department, and mobilized the D.C. National Guard to end violent crime in our nation's capital. As part of the president's massive law enforcement surge, last night, approximately 850 officers and agents were surged across the city. They made a total of 23 arrests, including multiple other contacts. Last night, these arrests consisted of homicide, firearms offenses, possession with intent to distribute narcotics, fare evasion, lewd acts, stalking, possession of a high-capacity magazine, fleeing to elude in a vehicle, no permits, driving under the influence, reckless driving, and a bench warrant. A total of 6 illegal handguns were seized off of District of Columbia streets as part of last night's effort. This is only the beginning. Over the course of the next month, the Trump administration will relentlessly pursue and arrest every violent criminal in the district who breaks the law, undermines public safety, and endangers law-abiding Americans.
Okay. Remember, 850 officers, 23 arrests. Another popular topic that I've mentioned the last 2 days is Trump's mistake in saying that he was going to Russia and not Alaska for his meeting with Putin on Friday. Here's what Karoline had to say about that when asked. Play the clip.
Charlie.
The president said at the podium yesterday twice that he was planning to go to Russia. Was that a verbal slip-up, or does he actually plan to go to Russia?
Perhaps there are plans in the future to travel to Russia. And on Friday, the president will be meeting with the Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska, as you know. Phil.
Yes, as you know. You know who clearly didn't know at the time? Right, the guy who's going. Meanwhile, another reporter then brought up Judge Engelmeyer's decision on the Ghislaine Maxwell grand jury documents. Stuff is not going away. Play the clip.
Another question on something that happened yesterday, but I wanted to get the White House response. A judge ruled that the grand jury transcripts in Ghislaine Maxwell's case should not be released. What's the White House response to that? And do you plan to appeal? And what do you tell President Trump supporters who want that information released?
We think that decision is unfortunate. Of course, we moved to unseal that information because the president has said he wants to see credible evidence released. As for the appeal process, I would defer you to the Department of Justice for that.
Sure. Meanwhile, another reporter then asks sweet Karoline about ICE. Yep, back to ICE now, detaining, get a load of this, a 15-year-old student with disabilities. Play that clip.
Yes.
So a lot of reports that ICE agents detained a 15-year-old student with disabilities outside an LA high school, even leaving bullets on the sidewalk. How does the Trump administration plan to ensure parents that their children can return to school without fear of being wrongfully detained or endangered by federal agents?
Where'd you see that report?
LA Times.
Okay, well, I'll have to look into the veracity of that report. I read the LA Times almost every single day, and they are notorious for misleading the public. I'm sure there's more to that story than the way that you just characterized it. This administration wants to ensure that all school children across the country in every city from Los Angeles to DC can go to school safely, and that's part of this administration's effort to federalize the National Guard in Washington to ensure that ICE is removing child predators. I just read you a list of a handful, just a handful, of the hundreds of thousands of child predators that this administration is removing off of the streets of Los Angeles and every other community across this country, because we want to ensure this is a country where American school children can be safe, where they can prosper, and where they are not threatened by violent criminals, whether they are illegal or whether they are American citizen homegrown criminals, as this president calls them. So I will gladly go check on that report, and I'll get you the facts. Thank you, everyone.
Did she just say that there are hundreds of thousands of child sex predators out in just the LA area alone? I mean, the conversation is nuts. Gets even crazier. Turns to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And of course, Trump's new appointee, E.J. Antony. Reporter asked if Antony will continue to put out monthly jobs reports. Here's what she had to say. Play the clip.
Will the Bureau of Labor Statistics continue to put out monthly jobs reports?
Well, look, what I'll tell you about the Bureau of Labor Statistics, I believe that is the plan, and that's the hope, and that these monthly reports will be data that the American people can trust. As you know, the Bureau of Labor Statistics has made massive revisions after the last several reports that they have put out. And there has certainly been a decline in the quality and the reliability of data coming from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and there's been an increase in revisions. And this president and the administration is finally tackling this problem that so many have talked about, and the president is actually doing something about it. We need to restore new leadership that we can trust. As you know, the president has appointed someone new to take over the BLS, and so we need to look at the means and the methods of how the United States is acquiring this very important data, and all of that is going to be done, and the goal, of course, is to provide honest and good data for the American people to make very important economic decisions on.
Of course. And then another reporter said that Antony had actually gone on and told Fox News that he would end up doing quarterly reports. Maybe because the numbers are so bad? Play the clip.
But the president's new nominee for BLS Commissioner E.J. Antony recently told Fox Business that the BLS should suspend issuing monthly job reports and only issue quarterly reports until the jobs data methodology is corrected. So does the president disagree with that assessment that his nominee is said there, or suspending these monthly job reports a real option?
I think he floated the idea of possibly suspending until they can get the data and the methodology in order. And this president wants to ensure that the BLS, again, is putting out accurate and honest data that the American people can trust. Since you...
Sure. Meanwhile, reporter also then goes and points out that if the job data is unreliable, well, what does that say about the inflation data? Is that unreliable too? Play the clip.
One more. just on the BLS, they collect the inflation data, obviously. If the jobs data is not reliable, should Americans trust the inflation data?
Well, look, the jobs data has had massive revisions. We want to ensure that all of the data, the inflation data, the jobs data, any data point that is coming out of the BLS is trustworthy and is accurate, which is why the president has restored new leadership at the BLS. Sure, go ahead.
I mean, it's literally been the system. And yes, the system is flawed. There are mistakes. I grant you that. But literally not to be able to now put it out for a full quarter, for 3 months, simply because you can't figure out how to get the right information. Today, in the data age, when information is just free-flowing, I don't know. Then a reporter goes on and asks about Trump threatening to sue Jerome Powell over the $3.5 billion being spent on buildings. Play that clip.
Thank you. The president weighed in on Jay Powell again today, you might have seen. He said that he's considering allowing a major lawsuit against Powell to proceed because of the, quote, horrible and grossly incompetent job he has done. Can you tell us about that? What lawsuit is he talking about?
He's considering a lawsuit, and I won't speak on it any further. I will allow the president to do that himself.
Is it fair to say the administration is considering suing the Fed chair over this renovation?
That's what the president is saying.
Has he had discussions with anyone about this, or is this just like how advanced is this right now?
At this moment in time, the president is considering a lawsuit against the Fed, and I will leave it to him to comment further on it.
It's truly, truly amazing. If you can't get him with the police in the street, if you can't get him with ICE agents, National Guards, and so on, we'll get him with a lawsuit. It's one or the other, but somewhere along the line, punishment must be given. And finally, when asked about small businesses paying tariffs, remember, Trump goes ahead and he just, delayed the tariff deal with China, assuming it was even a deal, for another 90 days, hence why your box is probably all filled up with, taco memes and stuff. Karoline goes on to say that they should be thankful to have Trump. Play the clip.
Yeah, 2 questions on the economy. So first, we've had small businesses tell us that it's not foreign exporters who are eating the tariffs, it's them. And they've held off on raising prices, but soon they're going to have to raise prices. What is the White House's message to them?
The White House's message to our small business owners across the country is you have never had a better ally or friend or supporter in this White House than President Donald Trump, who is a businessman himself.
Yeah, which is exactly why early this morning at 4:30, I started writing my Substack piece of the day called The Real Victims of Trump's Tariffs. Let me be very clear. It's not the Walmarts, the Costcos, the Amazons, the big box stores, the Krogers. No. It's you. It's me. It's the American people. Because until we start saying every single time that some message is put out there that is just inaccurate, wrong, or just a blatant lie, tariffs are taxes. Consumers pay tariffs. We're losing this argument. And as always, thanks for listening. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. We're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.